Aloha, beautiful pod human family. Our great cosmic family on the planet, what is the word we want to say? We want to say traversing the waves, the magical waves of consciousness that we're riding on together. It's such a miraculous miracle to be alive and in our bodies, in form. And we are feeling pretty blissed out and super joyous this miracle night to share a one-night transmission. Aloha, magic joy. And tonight we're sharing a one-night transmission, and it's called delight and ecstasy. And so we're going to go deep into sharing those codes in the space between the words. And you might feel it already emanating through this transmission, because that's what transmissions really are. They're an emanation in the space between the words of an essence or an energy of our divinity. And that transmission is shared in such a way that others can feel it and find it inside of themselves. And so that's what's happening on the planet, while there's all levels of perception, of upheaval and celebration and creativity and new creation and awareness that it's all just a miraculous play. Holographic creation, a co-creation, a collaboration. And so tonight's miraculous transmission at 7:11 p.m. is about accessing that delight. And delight can't be accessed from the mind. We are in this transmission sharing those codes of delight through our own words and through our body, to assist our human family to find that inside of ourselves. Animals play. Maybe you've seen some of the great pictures of like polar bears, playing in the snow, or crows. There's this great National Geographic article one time, and it was photographs of animals playing, and these crows were sliding down snowy hillsides on their backs. And of course we know all animals play, and they play a lot more than humans do. Humans were kind of caught up in our rational mind for some miracles in time, in this great transposition of consciousness that is occurring through us all. Like it or not, is dissolving our capacity to create from the mind. And so that Nike just do it kind of attitude that really was the dominant force, not power, dominant force on the planet for many miracles in time, is no longer effective at creation or creating. And so there are new levels of creativity rising from within and inside. And to access our true superabundance, if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. To access our true superabundance is to come into alignment with the light. And we can't really make delight up. Delight is an energetic signature that just begins to unfold from inside as the mind releases its incessant need to feel like it is in control. And so humanity has been pushed, especially in the Western world in the last few miracle years, to release that kind of control, that need for control from the mind, and that deep control that was creating the structures and systems on the planet. And that just doesn't work anymore. So delight is actually in the 64 codons of the human design. Delight is one of the genes inside of us, and it expresses in certain ways. And part of how we access delight is our deep surrender. And so many miracle years ago, before everything that humanity is going through now came, we were shown this great vision, and the guidance came to we and said there will be a period in time that will last some time where humanity will cry. Together, humanity will cry, and we were shown everyone on the planet crying. And then the guidance said, and then will come the epiphany, and all of humanity will begin to laugh together. And that is the metaphor of the laughing Buddha, the great laughing Buddha. And what does that metaphor really mean inside of ourselves? And really the signature of the laughing Buddha is when the Buddha realizes that it is all a fiction, it's all a creation, it's all our imagination. And the realization, the recognition, as everything begins to dissolve and transform and crumble and fall, when one is pushed so deep, you know, in the medical system, they used to call it a nervous breakdown. Well, that was just a way of describing when the mind finally lets go of trying to control. So if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And so humanity is really, in the Western world, on the brink of releasing the mind's incessant need to control. And as one just finally surrenders and goes, I give up, this incredible, mysterious quality called delight begins to rise up. And, you know, I'm being shown, like in many places in the world where materialism did not take over the consciousness, many places on the planet where people were at the whim of the materialistic world. Delight in many parts of the planet never dissolved. Humans never lost contact with that part of the self, because, you know, you would see children making toys out of anything, not some plastic thing from the store, or the guidance was going to say plastic Nintendo, combining the fiction things of the material world. And so just like animals know how to play and have fun, many people in the world, you see, you know, so many beautiful cultures where dance and singing and clapping and rhythm is a regular part of the village or the community. And that opens the heart to that delight and that joy and that fun. And as we unlock delight through our great surrender, our great cosmic surrender, in the realization that the mind has no control, the body is able to begin to release the higher ecstasies, which are alchemical inside of our form. And so as people really find that they reach those breakdown points and they just say, I just can't take this anymore. That is actually a breakthrough moment when we have the capacity to move into delight. And we looked up delight in the I Ching again tonight, and we were also looking up delight in other texts, like Mr. Richard Rudd's, who did kind of a modern day version of the I Ching. And we loved these words that we read, which said, in the I Ching, delight is known as pushing upwards or rising upwards. And in Richard Rudd's Living Library Gene Keys, it's described as great new life joyously sprouts from a tiny constricted seed buried in the dark. And so if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And we're doing a transmission tonight at 7:11 p.m. called Delight and Ecstasy, to really emanate and share these codes so that those who are joining, we can feel them and ignite them inside of themselves. It's like once it's unlocked, there's no turning back. So all the notes, if you want to join, are in the description box of this love stream. We just want to share and talk about delight a little bit more to assist our human family, for those who maybe are feeling like they've been knocking at heaven's door and have been feeling that the changes and transformation have felt very relentless. And so one of the things in the description of this great archetypal journey that we've all been on, this redemption from our separation from source consciousness, that creation of going into the sense of separateness from source, the separateness from unity, the separateness from oneness, is that we go through the aeons. And in the final aeon, part of the metaphor of the final aeon is that one keeps feeling like they're done the journey, and then it's like, oh my gosh, it's still not done. What? And it's all designed to help us release in totality. So as long as the mind holds on, we experience suffering. We share this all the time. The Hopi prophecy said, if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. The Hopi told us this time of great change will come. There are those who would hold on to the edge of the river tightly, and they would suffer greatly. Push off from the edge of the river, move into the middle, lift your head above water, see who is there with you, and celebrate, for this could be a time of celebration. And we share this piece all the time to share that one of the things we've said for many miracles, we say resistance is futile, but now we say resistance is non-existent. So if we kind of have a sense of going like, okay, I get it, I'm just not supposed to hold on to the edge anymore. But the mind and the ego, this is where we get stuck, is the ego, even when our mind starts to understand that it's all a game and it was all a creation, it's all a fiction, it's all holographic, and we're all going home to source together. And all of these veils of separation and borders and boundaries and countries and all of these things that cause separation in our psyches are dissolving. The ego itself doesn't really know how to let go. And so really the only way it can let go is to place ourselves in the presence of those who are in a different state of existence. And what we mean when we say this is that we all have these mirror neurons in our brain. And mirror neurons are brain cells. And those brain cells, when they observe things, they mirror what they're observing. So if we continue to observe the news, if we continue to observe negative things in social media, if we continue to observe friends and family who are in suffering, and we keep making the choice that we don't want to be in that anymore, if we continue to allow ourselves to observe that, the mirror neurons in the brain will activate those sensations and those feelings more. If this live stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And so as those mirror neurons continue to activate those feelings, we may feel like, oh, I'm trying to surrender, I just don't know how. So part of the surrender is to choose to place our focus elsewhere, which is why, you know, those little cat websites, people love pictures of cats and all those things, is because when we place our focus on something else that is positive, that is silly, that is fun, that is light, that is easy, it activates the mirror neurons in the brain to create different chemistry in our form. We are these incredible electromagnetic alchemical laboratories, light chips. And so to turn all of this on, we got to change our focus. So tonight's transmission is to share the energetic of delight. Delight is absolutely necessary for the alchemical transfigurative capacities in the body to turn on, meaning we have certain chemicals in our body that make us feel joyful, and when we feel joyful, it begins to open up the heart, it opens up the first eye, it raises the kundalini, it does all of these things. This is the greatest technology ever, and we always said physical ascension is a textbook process. It's an actual textbook process. We just didn't get that textbook in school. And so we're bringing it back in. And as we access delight, just simple delight, the ecstasies begin to turn on. Back to the laughing Buddha. We begin to feel this unlimited, super abundant energy that floods our entire form. And although we're not really fond of the word contagious, we will use it in this case to say that ecstasy and bliss and delight are absolutely, what's the word well, I'm hearing the word transferable. Some people might want to use the word contagious. Ecstasy and delight and bliss are contagious. And they are a wonderful contagion to take over the form, because it opens up all of our supernatural capacities. It begins to ignite genesis in our form, which is the telomeres that grow in our body, that keep our body youthful. The telomeres begin to turn back on. The body begins to get younger. Everything within us begins to turn on. And all those great things about moving in and out of time and space at will, and affecting the particles all around us, so that it all begins to look like really fifth dimensional. The first eye turns on. The quality of light begins to transform. The particles in the room transform. Everything becomes alive around and within us. And so we are just like overflowing with this energy of delight and ecstasy in our form. And back to the unlocking of the superabundance, because of course that is the natural state of creation. It's infinite potential and infinite possibility. So back to what we said before, how do we begin to transform out of the old and those activation of the mirror neurons of trying to recreate something from the old world? We can't and we don't. What we are bringing through our form now is entirely new creations. And so as we activate the delight, as we activate the ecstasies within us, we begin to see visions that we're like, ah, because it's coming through us. And now we can begin to see, we're stepping into the future, and the future is now drawing us forth because we've unlocked those libraries inside of our DNA. Our DNA is a holographic library with infinite potential. It's the library, the cosmic Akash, and all of the possibilities exist in this Akash that exists inside of our form. So there's another thing we were going to share here, which is, so the visions start to come and we begin to be just like overflowing with possibility. We don't even have to do anything because our form is now flooded with delight, and we begin to see the humor in everything. We begin to see it's all kind of like a big cosmic joke. And that's again back to the laughing Buddha. What was laughing Buddha telling us? The laughing Buddha was the metaphor of the realization that it's all a great cosmic joke. The shadow of delight and ecstasy, the shadow frequency, is seriousness. And so back to the metaphor that the guidance, or the vision the guidance showed me many, many miracles ago, when the guidance said there will be a period when humanity will all cry together, and then humanity will all begin to laugh. And that is the precipice that we are on together collectively, because as the mind begins to break and crack in terms of its rigorous, rigid hold on what it believes the reality to be, cannot hold on any longer. That's why, once again, this description here of the gene key, of delight and ecstasy, says, great new life joyously sprouts from a tiny constricted seed buried in the dark. If this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. So humanity has been that tiny constricted seed. All the conditions on the planet were to push people deep into experiencing what it is to be a tiny constricted seed buried in the dark, for great new life to joyously sprout from us, because it's already within us. So if you would love to join tonight's transmission called Delight and Ecstasy, and have your delight and ecstasy permanently turned on, details to join are in the description box. And also, we are just emanating delight and ecstasy from this love stream right now. So share it around, and remember that the great epiphany is coming for all of humanity, to understand that we all created it together all along, and the plug is pulled from the tenacity of the perception. As Einstein said, the external reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. That plug was pulled many miracles ago. And if you're feeling like you're ready to crack or drop to your knees, totally give up, it's actually a good sign. because that is the precipice for something so much greater than the mind, the dualistic mind of separation can understand. And it's unity, and it's ninth wave, and it's oneness, and it's super abundance, and we don't even have to figure out how it comes, because it's the unlocking of the super abundant delight and the ecstasy within us. So everything we do becomes ridiculously happy, joy-filled, fun. Just a smile, seeing a flower, seeing a hummingbird, whatever it is, everything just becomes silly and delightful and fun. And so we are joyous for our beautiful family that this energetic tsunami wave is now here and present. And what is to come is truly the miraculous. And as we say, super abundance is our natural state, and the creativity that flows through us. And the other thing we would just invite all of our global family at this miracle coordinate is to create, create, create. And create just means like get connected to the inside of the self, the basic level, and just tune in to say, like, is there one simple thing that truly makes me happy right now? Not an addictive thing, not any of the lower chakra things, just like one simple thing that makes me happy. And allow that energy to bubble up and turn on, because it's inside of all of us. This is the natural process of evolution, of ascension, of awakening, of our beautiful global family into the most miraculous new experiences and realities together. Cosmic star beings, light beings. We love, we so much. This love stream is inspiring. Please share it. That's called gifting. And if you want to join tonight's retreat, all the information is in the description box. And if you want to tune in from the recording, you can do that through that description box as well. Yay! Aloha. Thanks for tuning in.